Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crate Expectations. I'm here with my co-host, back in the workforce, Sarah.
Yeah.
How are you today? Back in the workforce, Sarah.
Do I have to answer that?
No, I don't. I don't care. So let's move on to Galaxy of Heroes.
Yeah. How are
Uh,
you?
I'm afraid if I start telling you, you're gonna just immediately change the subject and interrupt.
That's a valid fear.
Yep. so, no, yeah, I'm excited that we're still recording. You know, let
Yeah.
your life, the landscape of what you're doing is different, and I appreciate you taking the time still to meet with me and do this. This is fun.
Yeah, it's wild. Going back to work is weird after a year off.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think you're doing a different kind of work. Honestly, I think that it's vital and important stuff. So,
Right.
I'm
Valid.
glad that you took the time off, and I think it was work.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like that's why I said workforce because it's a Star Wars show, and you know, just kidding. But no, like you're back, at a job with a desk or whatever,
Yeah.
presumably.
Yeah. I think the biggest shock, other than the fact that I'm on a day shift now instead of my evenings, um, is I work 5 days a week now instead of four.
That's the worst.
Yeah. 5 days? I this is gonna When you get used to working 4 days a week and having three off, man, it's rough going to five.
I bet I have dreamed, man. I would absolutely work extra hours
Oh.
on the 4 days if I got
Mhm.
the fifth day off. That would, oh man.
People always were like, whenever they found out I worked 4 10-hour days, they're like, that's so long. And I was like, you don't notice the extra 2 hours a day. You notice the extra day off. That's where you're like, yeah, you have a whole day like that you can do whatever the hell you want. It's fantastic. And now I
Well,
don't.
and one of those days is during the weekdays, so you can actually go get things done that are
Yeah.
only happen during the weekday. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. So
So R.I.P. I'm kind of glad now that I mean I feel sad for you at the same time, but
I
I'm
can
glad you're
suffer.
back. I'm glad you're back on my level. You've been knocked down a peg. No, no longer better than me,
Uh,
Sarah is how I should have described you.
now I'm just typical average.
Typical Sarah.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I'm I was actually I was about to listen to your podcast because you guys just did it live
Yeah.
yesterday for the first time in like a year, right?
Yeah, we haven't done it live since Jasper was born.
Yeah. So guys, if you're watching, go follow Sarah's. In the links below in the video description. There's a link to her YouTube channel, so then you'll keep notifications turned on. So then when she goes live, you can hear her own podcast that she's been doing for longer than I've been a content creator, I think. So
We've been doing it. That's almost 6 years. Holy crap.
yeah,
Holy crap.
longer for sure. Yeah, for like basically half your life,
Yeah.
and yeah, go check it out. There's also a link to the podcast as well. So and that's where the second half of our show goes as well.
Right. On my channel.
Yeah, the eat dessert first channel.
Yeah. Man. Can I just real quick segue before we get into Galaxy of Heroes? Jasper has discovered how awesome cake is, and I can never eat anything again because he's just shrill if he does not get cake when I have cake.
So I'm gonna ask this. How often would you say you have cake?
I have a pretty bad sweet tooth.
Me too,
So,
actually.
yeah. Um, I I wouldn't say I have cake often, but I usually have like cake or a donut or a cupcake or a cookie, like that
Mm.
variation. Yeah, at least once a day.
Mm.
Yeah. And there's
And so
Jasper birthday cake that I have to finish eating, so
you have to. That's important.
can't waste that.
No, you really can't. That's imperative. That yeah, that makes sense. I was like, I don't know if the last time I've like casually eaten cake.
I eat it quite often for breakfast, even.
We'll just say it's for breakfast. Oh, to live in Canada, where healthcare is free, so you can make poor health
I was gonna
decisions.
say, I think that's just a me thing because uh my husband does not approve.
I bet not. No, that I I I don't think it matters. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Jasper likes it, and that's what matters.
He likes cake. Um,
So,
yeah.
do you think the new Gungan likes cake?
I think the new Gungan likes surfing.
Why is that?
Doesn't he look like he's holding a surfboard?
Um, it looks like I guess it for a person who's only watched episode 1 once in her life, I guess it would look like a surfboard.
Like twice. I may have fallen asleep during the second.
I was about to say, did you stay awake for all of it?
But like in the little like their graphic with when they put the kits out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of looks like a surfboard. I feel like he's gonna just be like Cowabunga.
Yeah.
I've also just started calling him Phalange
Why?
because I don't like the word phalanx.
So, like Regina Phalange
Yeah.
from Friends?
Yeah. I saw his name and I was like, there's something wrong with the left phalange.
Okay.
It's also from Friends.
I I don't approve.
Why?
Phalanxes are awesome, man.
You say so. I feel like it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, people would be excited. They were like, yeah, the Gungan Phalange.
You're welcome.
it that definitely adds credibility to their already maligned species.
Everyone would take them seriously for real. Um,
Just call him Regina for short. That's fine.
but okay, so this is the last Gungan before Jar Jar,
Mm-hmm.
and it's in game right now with a marquee.
Yep.
And yeah, goodie, I guess.
I mean, so they have to follow a pretty standard, progression of the, because they've kind of really projected their schedule, at least of release characters.
Totally.
Like they had to release him now, I think, because like the next conquest is upon us. It's next week, and then really it's just so it's like 6 weeks away that we get Queen Amidala.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point.
Which means that we have 2 more weeks. So, but they released a character this week. They
Hmm.
skip a week, release either Obi-Wan or
Right.
Qui-Gon, then skip a week, have another week where they release the other one of those, skip a week, Queen Amidala's out.
That is a lot. Oh, all yeah, before the end of May.
Dude, I sent you that list
I know.
today.
I
It
know.
is, and so for my own. Here, I'm gonna pause this so I can just pull up the list for people. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so here's the list,
Yeah.
and I know you can't see it. You could see it,
You
I
sent it
guess
to me.
on
I know what's there.
yeah, yeah. So this is all stuff that I'm working on my middle account, the account that you and I both work on
Mhm.
together. And your help is obviously invaluable, and thank you. People get mad at me if I don't thank you publicly sometimes. They're like, you never thank her. I'm like, you don't know. But anyways, it's almost blocking your face. Like right now, it's blocking your face because I moved it in front. But anyways,
Did it on
so
purpose.
I'm working on these characters, and they're all characters that, in my opinion, if you're in a top guild, which ODB I think of as is not a gauntlet guild, but it is one of the top guilds, right? At this point, maybe not the highest GP at it's like I said, not top 10 or whatever, but it's a top enough guild. We get top max crate, like a lot is expected of our of the people in the guild, which is fine. I like that. That's cool.
Yep.
But that also means, so I just got done with Paz. He's Relic 7. He's done. I think I even put his Zetas on. And then, so now to get, this is just crazy because all of this stuff is specifically for guild.
Right.
Only. This is
Right.
guild, and yeah, there'll be some nice benefit to me on certain aspects of it, I'm sure, on the side, but this is all stuff that it's kind of mandatory in a way to be working on. And it's crazy because Kelleran Beck, Grogu, and then you unlock Bo-Katan and say, well, you have to do that. And you want that because of specifically the guild impact is the rise of the Empire
Yeah.
node.
Once we get Mandalore.
And then we have the 5 Gungans,
Yep.
specifically for the raid. Who knows if else they'll be good, but need them for the raid. Stap, probably, because of probably the raid as well.
Yep.
Then Queen Amidala is the conquest character. You want to work on her anyways, but she's also going to be part of the new raid. And her squad is going to have young Kenobi and Qui-Gon.
Yep. And they'll probably be in the raid too.
Right?
So.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah, so and then who knows?
A lot of characters.
And who knows who her optimized +2 are going to be.
Right. If you need to work on anyone else. Or if it's just somebody you can pull.
Yeah. And it's a lot, man. Like, I need to unlock Lord Vader on that account. And I'm not that far, really. But it would take some effort. Like, like my Bad Batch are all, at least gear 12.
Right. That's true.
And a couple of them are Relic 1. But, I mean, that's, they're past the gear stage. Like a lot of them, I only need a couple characters to get more relics. I do need a considerable number of relics, but all of those relics, all the materials, all of everything is just going to be dumped into this big, and it's all for the guild. It's not just me being frivolous and silly about these farms.
This is why I kept putting off Lord Vader, because everything else that I needed to do, like I had to do it for the guild or whatever it was. That was a better reason. And the relic requirement for Lord Vader was just disgusting.
It is. It really is. What I'm gonna try to do is like once a week, just throw on like one relic to someone from the Lord Vader requirements,
so that it's slowly inching closer.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you do that, if you're like, man, I have to postpone it for 20 weeks, for instance, like that seems that's a lot of weeks, really. But that's still 20 relic levels, and really he requires the most relic levels. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, but I mean that's still like at least a quarter of his total necessary relic levels. Like that's substantial progress, and if you just do one a week, I don't know if I'll be able to keep up with it, but that was always that's how I always was able to farm other characters that required good materials. It was like just do one time per week and then use the rest of them on the gear you needed. So then you can slowly finish off that farm.
Yeah, it makes sense. But it's a ton, like to your point, it's a ton of characters, and not only is it like a lot of characters that you're gearing, and I mean that pretty much majority of the player base will also be gearing. It's also in a short amount of time.
Yeah. Well, a short amount of time. I mean, we have to be really realistically. We have to have it ready in what 4 months. So we still have some time to get it ready or whatever. But yeah, it's a lot. If especially that account is for the most part free to play. Like
Hmm.
it's low spending. It's $10 a month, kind of. On the Conquest Pass. But then you and I also we're both in the workforce. Like we
Right.
don't have time to log in for the daily or for the
Hmm.
the bonus energy and stuff. Like who has time for that?
Right. Exactly. So it's a lot.
No, it is, and it's just an interesting thing. So the other thing about it, though, this is the thing that's blowing my mind a little bit, at least, is we need to be on top of it.
Hmm.
Uh, this is just a long way of me lecturing you to do better. No,
Okay.
no, I promise it's not. But no, we have to be on top of it though because so last April we had a road ahead that announced the new capital ship.
Yes.
And whereas I don't know if it'll happen this April like they did last time, I will be very surprised if we don't have a capital ship.
Hmm.
And then only a couple months later we'll have another announcement for the new Galactic Legend. And if we don't get them both this year, I mean, I don't think anyone's going to be crying a whole lot, but I think that's something they want to keep pushing because I think that's one of the ways they make a lot of money.
Hmm.
And so we'll get all of our raid stuff ready, and we'll be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm exhausted. All these oh, cool. We have to farm and we have to work on all this other random crap for the new ship."
Yeah. Yeah. It's gonna be. ah, I don't even know. I feel like maybe things will be I don't want to say like slightly I think it'll be like just slightly off of what they did last year in terms of timing wise, because just based off of like how long it took for them to give us a post at the start of this year. Like you said, we got the April road ahead last year that announced Leviathan. I don't think we get an April road ahead this year. Um, I could see them doing something in like May. I just feel like everything's gonna be just slightly off kilter. Um, but if we get Amidala at the end of May. Her two sidekicks are already in game. Jar Jar, I'm gonna guess sometime in June.
Oh, okay.
Um, I don't think we're gonna see it if they stick to their word that the Endor raid shelf life was 8 to 9 months, then that takes us to July or August. And I have been kind of toying with the idea of mid-July as their new raid drop point. Um, whether or not they do that. But
Sure.
if we see a new raid drop then, maybe the ship comes August. I don't even know if it would be a capital ship. Maybe they'll just do a ship. Like a really strong, like a strong ship.
Like red one.
Correct. Or three.
Right. Like as long as it's like an odd number. Like 7.
I was gonna say like prime numbers.
Right, so like 7.
Yeah. Or three.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, can't think of any other prime numbers. So
Uh,
so stupid.
um, and then I don't know. I don't know if they do a GL this year. What like where do you think they pull from for a GL?
I wouldn't be too surprised if they went outside of the movies. Like they went for it's been long enough now with a lot of content creators talking about it and stuff. Like I almost think that half the community that pays attention and cares would that like a lot of people are expecting something like Revan Reborn or
Hmm.
something.
Hmm.
So something like that. I don't know. I'm sure they could come up with something. Maybe we won't get a GL. It seems like they changed things, their cadence, their pattern a little bit,
Yeah.
to stir it up. So I wouldn't be too surprised if they didn't. But at the same time, I mean, the panic farms, they do make a lot off of those, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think we still see some kind of panic farm. I just don't know if it would be a GL or a ship necessarily. Although I don't know what we're gonna do with another year of Leviathan, other
What is that?
than other
What
than
even
not
is that?
upgrade him. A ride at Wonderland.
That's right. You were telling me about that. So yeah, it's just a weird time right now. And to be honest though, we weren't expecting the road ahead last April either. We were like,
No, we
whoa,
weren't.
another road ahead? This is crazy.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they also have to announce, like, they're gonna announce stuff in May. Like, they usually announce stuff for May the 4th and whatnot. There's usually a decent sized post, whether it's a road
Yeah.
ahead or not.
I honestly, I'll be a tiny bit surprised if we don't get some kind of road ahead.
I I feel
We're
like we have
almost.
to.
Yeah, I think they'll give us some kind of road ahead. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we get one in April, is what I was trying to say.
Ah, yes.
Which,
Fair.
but I mean this would only be the second time in a row that we got one, and we got one in February,
Hmm.
and now getting one in April seems like greed. But at the same time, we're also to the point where most of the stuff they've promised is either imminent or like we're much closer to the realities of all this stuff. We haven't gotten the new node yet for Rise of the Empire,
Yeah, that's true.
but I feel like a road ahead could also give us more details on that.
Yep. We need details on that. We need details on the raid, and then the next, like, what's coming, basically.
Right, which would probably not tell us about the new galactic legend if we're getting one, but
Right.
probably the ship. So yeah, lots of what ifs, lots of question marks. Are you farming stap right now?
I am. I have a fair amount of signal data right now that I can take the break at the moment and just farm him nonstop.
Cool. Yeah, that's really I need the signal data for the three remaining characters for the bow team, and then
Yeah.
once we get that, then I guess full steam ahead on stap. And how
Gungan.
weird is it? I'm like, I hope no Gungan is on the Cantina, but I do hope they are because it's easy. It's
It's
an easier
it's
farm.
it's so nice when they're on Cantina, but it also sucks.
Yeah, it's a toughie, man. It really is. The it'll be a really interesting time. Like with all of the promised characters, I'm like, what should people even focus on right now? I think that's going to be my next video. Is just like, what things can you just kind of not work on right now?
That
Like, I'm wondering if the people who are interested in the raid but can't, they're not end game enough to just drop everything and work on everything.
right.
I'm wondering if people should just kind of, like maybe soft farm them, but like slowly work on Gungans and just only focus on Queen Amidala. I don't know,
I
because you're gonna want her regardless.
I was actually going to say I would focus on Amidala only because you can get her. The conquest feats are, you know, decently easy. Um, but I feel like, especially for like a mid-game player, going after four marquees, getting them to Relic 5 to get the legendary that you also need to get to Relic 5, which at the end of the day, chances are you're probably going to take them to Relic 7 or Relic 8 to
Yep.
continue to use them in the raid. Why not just work on getting Amidala out of Conquest and then piecing together her team from there? And yeah, I'm sure her raid team will probably work best with the sidekicks that you could slow farm potentially, but I'm sure there's going to be a raid team that works with her that doesn't use them. I'd be
Maybe.
shocked if there wasn't.
Yeah. No, I mean they'll. I think they basically said that they're gonna work. I guess my biggest question mark about that, and I know I was the one who suggested it, so I'm not really
Mhm.
trying to be contrarian here. I just Gungans are going to be available to farm a lot sooner than Kenobi and Qui-Gon. Like they're only
Yeah.
going to become farmable in 2 months after the time that they're released, and so it's going to be like 3 months from now that they
Yeah.
they can actually be farmable. And then if you were to slow farm them, it'd be like 9 months from now to have them farmed all the way to 7.
That's a good point because then what's the shelf life of the new raid? Because if it is 3 months from now that they go farmable, and
Right.
let's say that's middle of July. Let's say that that's when the new raid drops, and the new raid has a 1 year shelf life. Are you gonna want to spend 9 months farming characters for a raid that you so that you can use them for 3 months?
I know I do. So, we're gonna try a new thing, guys. We're gonna try
Yeah,
one viewer question selected by Sarah, probably to annoy me, and then we'll do the rest of the viewer questions we're gonna cover on her channel.
right. So I actually don't think this will annoy you. Um,
Um,
I selected this one for two reasons. One, I think you will have good suggestions, but two people actually asked essentially the same question. So Darth Lucas and Chris SW Replay both asked essentially what characters are you hoping to see CG bring into the game from different shows or movies that obviously are not in here yet.
oh, what do you think?
Um, I think Crosshair would be good. That I feel like that's an obvious one. I really want Gungi.
Yeah, Gungi for sure. That's the
Uh,
top of my list,
I
actually.
really want Luthen's ship just because it was pretty badass in that scene on Andor.
You basically are copying all of mine. Continue.
Ah, man, that this is why I asked the question so that I could answer it first. Wait till we get to the 300 game.
I always try to
Uh,
wait. I
um,
can never quite escape it.
who would you want before I keep rattling off your
Oh, so
ideas?
those would be great. I would want I'd want the Night Sister lady from Ahsoka.
Ooh, yeah, I would want her too.
Don't remember
Elspeth.
her name. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Especially 'cause she's getting a show pretty soon.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that would
it
be
would actually give us her and give us Darkseid Barris. Give us Inquisitor Barris.
ooh, that would be fun. Yeah,
That
okay. I like that.
those would be awesome. Those would be good candidates for like one of the new Conquest
Mm-hmm.
characters actually. Yeah, so those, and then I don't know how capable they are. Like if they're, it seems like they almost have to in some ways. Like CG is going to be forced to by Lucasfilm or something to work on some kind of High Republic thing, and maybe it'll just end up being from the Acolyte. But I've been reading through all the High Republic stuff, and there are a couple really cool iconic characters, like a couple cool Jedi that they'd probably go for, and then a couple people who aren't Jedi but that are fun and
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. Like I don't know how they could do it. There's one character no one ever sees him move, but he does somehow, and he does things. His name is Geode, and he's like a rock basically.
Like Geodude in Pokemon.
Right, except his name is Geode, and I don't know if he's a dude, but he definitely is.
I thought you were gonna say I don't know if he's a Pokemon.
He might be a Pokemon. Might not be a dude, but he is a Pokemon.
Uh,
So, but yeah, Geodude actually moves around though. Geode just like sits there. It's almost just a joke. It's really well orchestrated though. So, you know, get a few characters from High Republic. That would be cool.
that's fair.
Because I didn't realize what a massive project that they've really been undergoing. There's so many books and comic books, and now they're doing a show
Mm-hmm.
for it, and they already have a show, actually. It's not really something you have to be watching. It's the Young Jedi Adventures.
Right.
But that's set in the High Republic era. Like, they're wearing the uniforms for it
Oh, I didn't realize
and
that.
stuff. Yeah, I've been watching it with my little son, and he really loves it. But they it's High Republic era. It's not that we know we're not gaining a ton of like lore information there, but it's still
Right.
you know
It's still there.
yeah.
Um, I like that. Those are good. Those are good characters.
Yeah, well, and they're going to start making movies again. I mean, they're already
Yeah.
in production, so we'll start getting stuff from that. I want to second the Luthen and his ship. That would be my favorite. Like, I would not
So
mind if they were
cool.
like, okay, we're not doing a capital ship. Instead, we're releasing Luthen. He's gonna be a super badass, and his ship is gonna be amazing too.
Hmm.
You're welcome. You know,
His ship, what? Yeah. Yeah. I would take his ship in game any day.
it's really cool, man. Yeah. So, real quick, let's
Yeah.
do the trigger photo. And okay, so this one is going to confuse a lot of endgame players,
Hmm.
such as Sarah, who has, more billions of credits than millions. And just kidding, this is a very mid game to early game
Yeah.
problem where, especially now that raids, I mean, the raids have been changed for what, a year, maybe over a year at this point.
Over a year, yeah.
But we used to get so many credits
Hmm. And now you
in
don't.
raids, and they don't give them anymore. And yes, you can spend. People are always like, "Well, you can spend GET1 on them," and I'm like, I need the GET1 for gear,
Yeah,
really bad.
I was gonna say if you, especially like if you are in a scenario where you need the credits, you probably also need the gear.
Yeah. So Dumpster Fire submitted this, and he has Supreme Leader Kylo. He just unlocked a galactic legend, and he
Hmm.
can't. I think he described it as he can't even put mods on him. Like, he can only get him to level 49.
Sad.
It's brutal, man. Like, my 7.7 million account or whatever just can't. I upgraded, like, I was like, oh, I need to get my Gungans like some level. So I got him up to relic 8, or not relic, sorry, gear 8.
Gary.
Or maybe it was just even gear 7. Don't want to spend Kyrotech on them yet, but they and then I looked, and I couldn't even put a piece of gear on
Oh man.
because I was like, I had just happened to upgrade something that cost almost exactly how much I had left, and I couldn't do anything else. I was just out of credits, and I was like, that was like 3 Gungans. Like, that was it. That, like, just 20 million credits stored up and saved, and now
Gone.
I can't even swap mods now.
That's insane. Oh my
It's,
gosh.
so this is a very real
Hmm.
issue for lower level accounts,
Yeah.
and end game accounts would do well not to lecture anyone on. You can just buy credits with
Yeah.
Mark 1 currency, because that's painful. Though I will say, the one advice I will give people is do your GAC attacks. Those give you credits.
That's true.
So I know that you don't like that advice, so
Well, I can
that's
ignore
fine
that
though.
advice.
You can. So, all right, guys, we're gonna go over to Sarah's channel, and you do, in fact.
I do.
I feel pre-ignored, in fact. So, yeah, we're gonna go over to Sarah's channel for the rest of this, and she promises her half is only going to be half an hour. So let's see her manage that.
Yikes.
Video description, or there should be some kind of link below us somewhere. So we'll see you on Sarah's channel.